Hey, it's live.
It
At
is
least it's
live.
in the corner. So, yeah. How are you
Sorry,
doing,
you
Daniel?
have a boner?
No, I maybe a little. It's
Oh, right.
it's not really quantifiable as a boner. But yeah. So, how are you doing? How you been? How's your ankle? How's your shrink been handling the dreadful stream last weekend?
Everything has been going swimmingly. My ankle is doing very fine. I'm not wearing pants, but I am wearing a hat. And what the fuck have you been smoking?
I It's more a case of what I have been drinking.
One of those things.
I didn't actually smoke. I'm on red wine because that's slightly more sophisticated. So
Oh, right, sophisticated. Right. Well, your sophistication entails a glass of red wine. Mine entails a hat.
actually
Um,
I've also brought Cedric, and I just wanted you to show this. This is
oh my
Cedric.
God. Right. For those of you listening to the audio stream, Fred is now no longer my friend. He showed us the digital etching of Cedric the Owl, and fuck it, let's just roll the intro on that one.
Intro.
Wow, this makes my nipples hard.
Boom! We're back.
Editing magic. Wasn't that
Yes.
beautiful?
Oh yes. Big thanks to Christian Gigerich, uh, the most wonderful German in existence, who did that wonderful little intro for us. So anyway, I'm going to remove my hat so everyone
Yes,
can
thank
enjoy
you. Now I feel like I can speak to you again from my heart.
from the heart and
Yeah.
penis.
So I understand you had a subject for this season two.
Oh, I have a subject for you, man. Oh, I've been looking forward to this for a very long time
Well,
because
this is one of the first subjects we had planned, wasn't it? But it just kept being postponed because LucasArts hit GOG and Sierra got back together and shit
dude,
just got postponed.
dude, dude, the you know we back when we started this whole thing, we had this little Google Doc with all the topics listed that we might want to talk about, and this is literally the first thing on the list. This is
The
literally
first
the first
thing,
thing
and
we
then
put on
the first episode of Saturated Market is what you're about to experience.
Right. Now, this is something that I desperately wanted to talk about for a long time, and now that we have the opportunity to do it here in season two with video and audio and bells and whistles and everything, I can finally get around to it. Now, preamble. Quickly, when we started doing Backseat Designers, season one with the horrible phone distortion and everything, I wasn't really playing that many adventure games, to be honest. We were basically talking from experience, or at least I was. I, you know, all the examples that we were throwing out to the audience, yeah, audience.
To
um,
that one guy.
yeah, to like one guy or two. Uh, uh, but they were all coming from memory. They were all coming from nostalgic tinted glasses or some shit.
Yeah.
But now there are actually new adventure games coming out. Well, there have been for a while. I know, but I've actually been playing them,
I've
and
also been playing some recent ones. I'm actually this is kind of against myself, but I'm playing Broken Age at the moment, which was on sale at GOG, and would you know, it's actually not horrible. It's actually pretty good so far.
even though you despise Tim Schafer for some odd
I don't
reason,
despise him. I think he's overrated, but that's another episode. Blowing
right?
smoke out of Tim Schafer's ass.
I want to be around for that. But it's interesting you should bring up Mr. Schaefer, because the reason why I wanted to get into this episode is precisely because I've been playing another Tim Schafer game, a Tim Schafer classic,
Hmm.
which is the Grim Fandango remaster, which came out not long ago. And what struck me about this game is that, as I've said on the Upper Memory Blog podcast, hint, hint, please go and listen to that. As I've written on my blog, I can't plug myself enough. Fuck it. What
No,
I
just and your penis does birthday parties. I've been told.
It blows bubbles too.
Yeah, blows.
Um, what struck me about Grim Fandango is that it's a much better story than it is an adventure game, and one of the reasons for that is that this game does not tell you what your fucking goal is most of the time. It's
Very
it's
true.
really, really bad at it, and you spend most of your time running around in this game trying to figure out what the fuck does this game want from me. And that's why I wanted to bring up the topic of today's show, which is clear goals.
Yeah, clear goals versus not actually knowing fuck all about what you're supposed to do. And I guess what brought it on, apart from Grim Fandango, was also what we experienced last weekend, which is that even in natural, non-audio swapped form, you're going to have to take my word for this, obviously, King's Quest V tells you fuck all about what you're supposed to do. And it's
Right.
not... I agree with you, because I know you favor being told what to do as opposed to just blindly bumbling around and exploring. Did
Yeah,
I
all
say
right. Yeah,
something
yeah.
wrong?
Because I'm a conformist at heart. Because I enjoy being
Aren't we
told what
all?
to do,
Yeah.
and basically living my life according to someone else's rules. Now, really, what
It's all about the games, though. I mean, I don't care about your private life in this context.
actually, it's all about ethics and games journalism.
Boom!
Anyway, what I what now? My problem with the so many adventure games is that you're given, as Joe from the Upper Memory Block says, you're given a quest, and you're
Hmm.
supposed to go and solve this quest by interacting with NPCs and by stealing their shit and coercing them into doing shit for you and gradually moving through the story. How are you supposed to accomplish this if you don't know what the hell you're supposed to do? I'm not only looking at Grim Fandango here. I'm looking at Discworld. I'm looking at a number of other games. Help me out here.
I think it's interesting that you said quest, because this what you said was basically the recipe for a quest game from Sierra. I mean, doing all those things and not really being told anything about what exactly you're supposed to do, other than the overarching three treasures of Daventry bullshit.
Well, there's the thing. Sierra Adventures were, by and large, in my opinion, actually very good at telling you what your quest was. And I know someone is inevitably what?
The overarching quest, definitely, but I mean, surely, I don't. I guess it depends on what level you want to be told what to do, because most of the King's Quest games play extremely similarly to Grim Fandango.
Right. Not talking about the King's Quest games, but anything, like Leisure Suit Larry and Space Quest. Inevitably, someone is going to bring up Space Quest 4, and I might as well do it now. Space Quest 4, for all its, death traps and needless time puzzles and all of that shit, at least Space Quest 4 gave you an indication of what you're supposed to do. And I know Josh Mandel has said this, that in Space Quest 4, you're basically dumped on the planet of Xenon, and you have no idea what you're supposed to do. Yes, you do. You have to survive. You have to get the fuck out of there, and that's basically everything
Well,
you have to do in that game.
you have to investigate what's happened. I mean, you're curious. So how do you investigate that and stay alive? You move on into the game world. Cheers.
Cheers. Now, for the most part, just to, because you said, well, right, do you want like the overarching, do you want to be told what to do like in an overarching quest kind of thing, or do you want to be told in increments what the game wants you to do? And I'm of the latter sort. I'm of the opinion that if you get thrown into a series of locations and you're supposed to wander around and accomplish something, at least have the courtesy to tell me what it is I'm accomplishing. Because I don't want to be running around picking random shit up off the street and then being told I can't pick this other random shit up off the street because for some reason the character clairvoyantly knows that I'm not supposed to use this, and then sort of stumbling across solutions, and then in retrospect, well, that kind of made sense, but I wasn't really told that that's what I was supposed to be doing. Um, uh,
It would obviously be way more interesting if I didn't agree with you, but I actually do, and I'm of that opinion myself. So on that note, episode over. No,
yes,
I thought
we're
of
done.
this because I knew we were going to talk about it, and something that struck my mind that I think more adventure games should utilize is the idea of the protagonist having a journal of sorts, A game like Amnesia does this. You know, you come across a
Oh,
puzzle,
again with the
and the
amnesia.
narrator himself actually scribbles down on these pages that it seems like I'm supposed to do something here. And if you did that in a game like the dreaded King's Quest V, that would turn the whole thing around on its head. Or you know, in Grim Fandango, because suddenly there is an idea that your protagonist knows that he is going somewhere. He's in the right direction. He does not know exactly what he's supposed to do, because that would just be a walkthrough. But he knows he might be onto something here, or she.
Right.
You know, we
You,
don't
you,
want to be caught up in ethics in games journalism here.
boom. You're kind of right. I must confess, I'm not entirely sold on the whole the protagonist keeps a journal, or worse still, the protagonist keeps stumbling upon other people's journals, and then they pick that shit up and read it.
That's totally different. I mean, that's
Um,
nothing to do with the gameplay mechanic I'm describing.
Right, but you do have a point. I mean, The Longest Journey, April Ryan keeps this massive journal, and I have the only thing that kind of breaks it for me is that I have no idea when she finds the time to write all this shit down. Um, there was an Orion game called Bioforge. You may or may not have heard of this. Sorry?
I've heard of it.
Oh, it's brilliant if you don't mind, you know, the gameplay being absolutely ass, but the story is actually quite interesting. And in that game, the protagonist also keeps a journal, but it's very early on. He looks at his journal entries, and the entry says, oh my God, is this journal just writing down my thoughts? When did I write this and such? So it turns out the journal is actually just recording his thoughts.
Yeah, I guess, you know, if you implement it thoughtfully. I mean, because like you say, it just kind of, at some point it kind of becomes a matter of where, you know, it becomes extremely difficult to suspend your disbelief if you're just poring over these pages that were somehow written in the time span of 30 milliseconds. It doesn't really work. But you know, if you just have him or her just scribble down one line, I'm supposed to do something in the lab, or I'm supposed to do something in the library, you know, then we're already closer to avoiding what I really dreaded last weekend about King's Quest V, which is that these games that don't really feature any clear goals somehow expect you, the player, to be ahead of them. You know, it's as if the protagonist doesn't really have any idea about what the fuck is going on.
No, he's just stumbling through the story, just going on. And then I picked this shit up, and then I did that. Oh, a quick clarification. My big old thanks to Emirad Akigo, who's on our IRC channel right now. He just told me that I said Orion Games, and it's actually Origin. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Well, minor gaffe. Let's just
lawsuit.
Yeah, thinking cab on. Anyway, you're absolutely right. If you're just stumbling around things, and for some reason the only thing I can think of right now is just the fucking Discworld games, because they've been so lambasted for having moon logic puzzles, and a big chunk of that is that you're just wandering around going, what the hell does this want from me? Granted, they do tell you at the start, hey, you're supposed to, at least in the second game, they tell you you're supposed to get these 3 items. And then you're supposed to return and then accomplish this ritual of whatever. But in the in the overall getting down to the nitty gritty, right? I'm supposed to get wax candles. Where the hell am I supposed to get wax candles? Well, there's a shop that sells candles. So how am I supposed to get it from them? And they never really tell you what are you supposed. What does this person want in order for you to acquire these candles and such? You know, I don't mean to. Like you just said, I don't mean for the game to telegraph you exactly what does this person want. There's supposed to be a certain amount of lateral thinking going on. Perhaps Discworld 2 wasn't the best example, actually.
No. Well, yeah, I agree. But I also just thought that, of course, you don't want to end up in the other extreme, which is, I think Police Quest is a good example, because if you play a game like Police Quest 4, which is arguably the one of them that focuses the most on police procedure, it's obvious what to do if you've read up on that stuff. If you have no idea about proper police procedure, which I hope most players don't, then you have no idea about what you're supposed to do. But if you do know it, then you won't miss the last bit of evidence, or you won't forget to chalk up the evidence, or write a note about it, or take a photo, or whatever you have
Right.
to do in that game. And
As
that is, of
as
course,
opposed to
the other
walking around.
extreme, that the goals are so abundantly clear that it's just it's one prolonged fetch quest, basically,
All
in
right.
some way.
As opposed to walking around your car before getting in, because that's correct police procedure as well.
Yeah.
One thing I want to bring up that's really just jarring to me is that the whole impetus for doing this episode was that I've been playing Grim Fandango, the remastered edition, and I found that the puzzles were convoluted as shit,
Mm.
and it was never really clear what I was supposed to do. And what really struck me was that Tim Schafer's previous game, Full Throttle, is exceptionally good at telling you what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, it
It
is.
it just flat out of the gate, it dumps you in like melon weed, for instance, and tells you, right, you need to get these. There's 3 things for your bike. Head off. You have these and these and these locations to visit. Thank you. And now we're on to the next bit. And then you're supposed to do this and this. You're never at a loss as to what the game is expecting of you.
That is very true.
Granted, it's a very linear story, obviously, but still, hey, and even Day of the Tentacle, even Broken Sword, even all of these games, they were they treaded that fine balance between letting you know what you were supposed to do and not just flat out telling you or just leaving you in the dark.
It's really interesting about Schaefer that he seems to be going between these opposites, because Broken Age plays more similarly to Full Throttle than Grim Fandango, in my opinion. The game doesn't outright spell out to you what you're supposed to do, but the design of it is so streamlined that doing the wrong thing is basically always impossible. And like that or not, it is an extremely simple game. He's basically stripped away the interface from it. At times it plays out like cutscenes with minor interaction, right? But it also means that you're never at a loss of what exactly is going on here. What am I after?
No, I haven't played it, so I couldn't say. And the other side of the spectrum of that are games that are so convoluted and where the plot is so intricate that you can easily start to lose track of the many, many, many things that you're expected to do.
Yeah.
Tex Murphy games, hello, how are you doing?
Well, didn't the Tex Murphy games always have a list of objectives, or am I thinking of another game here?
You have a point. It was actually the hint system that kind of gave you an objectives list.
That's true. Yeah.
And a game I recently played, The Inner World, does the same thing. It has a very, very good hint system that just, once you click hints, it just brings up a list of things that you're supposed to do. I do kind of feel that that's a bit of a cop-out, because if the game is not clear in telling you that this is what you're supposed to do and you're resorting to clicking hint just to find out what the fuck your goal is, then you've kind of missed the boat on this.
That is true.
But the thing about Tex Murphy versus The Inner World is that The Inner World is a very linear and very it's not really that challenging of a game. It really just goes from point A to point B to point C. Whereas Tex Murphy, at least Under a Killing Moon, and certainly the Pandora Directive,
Definitely Pandora, which is
it's just all over the place. It's just you have so many things that you're expected to do, and it just keeps piling on the list of objectives to the point where you're just going, wait, what was I supposed to do with this thing? Oh, right, I'm supposed to go to this cabin.
What is this game about? Is it about the NSA? Is it about aliens at Roswell? Is it about which girl I want to screw?
Yeah, is it a dating simulator? Am I fighting aliens? What the
old
fuck?
Guy who carries around photographs of his old colleagues, and that in itself is apparently not creepy at all.
Well, I was just about.
I always found that a bit creepy, actually. I just miss him. Could you help me find him? He's not on Grindr.
He did find that photograph in a newspaper, and it sort of jarred his memory.
Oh,
I was just about to spoil the entire game because, but I'm not actually for the first time. I'm actually not going to spoil a game because I know Amir Akago is
so
watching.
Sad if you spoil a game that came out in like what 1955.
No, but here's the thing.
Jesus, 95.
Yeah, I know. But seriously, I have no problem spoiling any game on this show. I will never ever. But for the last, I don't know, couple of weeks or something, Amir Akago and I have been meeting up on our RRC channel, which you'll hear more about at the end of the show. We've been meeting up, and he's been playing through the Pandora Directive, and I've been constantly, tripping over myself, accidentally revealing stuff that he hasn't gotten to yet, and he's been.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's playing through it. So yeah, I suppose we'd better be respectful around that game. But it is a good game, and it does actually take a few twists and turns that kind of leave you going, it's an interesting story, and it's a really, really fucking good game.
It is. So Amir, this is for you. This is the one time that we're not going to spoil anything on this show. But from this point on, any game that we mention is fair game. Mm-hmm. There are multiple spoilers on this show, as you probably know.
Sex dies at the end in Tesla effect.
Boom! So shit. Clear goals. If you were to design a game and you wanted to somehow provide the protagonist with a clear goal or goals, plural, without having to resort to the main character is writing a diary, or the main character is recording his thoughts on a dictaphone, or the main character is retelling the plot from in past tense, like Broken Sword actually did, but they treaded the fine line once again and actually worked. Kind of like Monkey Island 2 did, where it's, oops, that didn't happen. I'm sorry.
I don't know. My initial thought would have been the journal, just because I think it works whenever someone does it. I was going to mention Senscape and Agustin Cortes, who did it with Scratches, and I know he's doing it with Asylum as well. And that looks like it really works, because Scratches is one hell of a fucking vague game at times, but still there's always kind of this. I think the game has a journal, doesn't it, where it says, I'm supposed to call the electrician, and fuck, I missed the electrician because I was hanging out in the creepy attic. So
basically, all of that. I haven't played all the way.
That is all of that game. The game should have been called "Waiting for the Electrician."
No, what it should be called is looking for some dude to call, because that's basically every puzzle solution in that game is just to call somebody. And have them come and work shit out for you.
You have that one friend who got you in touch with the people who were selling the house, and you just ring him up constantly. I mean, who the fuck is this guy? Is he my lover? Is he my ward? Why am I pestering this poor man?
Are authors really that big assholes? They just pretty much call up the publisher.
Find the light switch.
Dude, I ran out of bacon. Oh, will you go to the fucking grocery store for
toilet paper?
I've fallen and I can't get up. How'd you reach the phone? I don't know.
Yeah, fuck you, Mr. Fletcher.
All right, I was just reminded on IRC that there's a hashtag going around on Twitter. Hashtag Better Call Jerry, which is like the solution to 60% of that game.
Better Call Jerry.
Better Call Jerry. Right.
I don't know. I suppose it narrows down the story quite a bit, because you can't really, unless you're really, really good at walking that balance, and I probably, in an ideal world, I would be, but I'm certainly not. Then it becomes very difficult to do those. Protagonist is lost in a world that is alien to him.
How do you guys do that on Valhalla Strikes Back? Because you were one of the main writers on that thing. I mean,
I don't know. We just made shit up since 2002, and then somehow some of it stuck. I don't think there was a clear idea, but there was a clear idea that we wanted to kind of emulate the Lost on an Alien Planet thing from Space Quest 1, especially when you land on Corona.
Right, but the overarching goal is to, of course, get out of the predicament you're currently in, which is the overarching goal of any fucking Space Quest game. But
Well,
still,
when I think of it, that game wouldn't have worked as a non-Space Quest game because we're able to call it Valhalla Strikes Back, and we're able to draw upon this story of this pissed-off arch-nemesis who wants to reenact his revenge on Roger Wilco. So, by and large, that is a clear goal in itself. You have to defeat this guy because he's on your ass and he will not let you live.
right, but that's the overarching goal. I'm talking about the little nitty-gritty things, like when you walk up to someone and he says, I mean, the the classic children's book kind of goal is that for adventure game is that you walk up to someone and he says, "Oh my God, I wish I had a pumice stone for my athlete's foot." So you go off and find him a pumice stone. You come back and he has something that you need. You can't take my enchanted water bucket because I don't have a pumice stone for my athlete's foot. Right, here's a pumice stone. Now I have an enchanted water bucket.
It becomes really, really tempting to lapse into fetch quest territory because that's one of the easiest kinds of puzzles to design.
But isn't that kind of the bread and butter of adventure games? I mean, I always seem to lump adventure games into two things: either larceny, like petty larceny, you're just stealing shit from people, or two, manipulation. You're talking to people trying to get them to do something for you.
That is true, but I mean, there is a... Can I think of any games without fetch quests? I obviously can. I suppose they kind of constitute the backbone of
Loom.
Games.
Loom had no fetch quests.
That's actually true. Yeah, and Loom had no clear goals as such. I mean, you just kind of
did.
You kind of, well, in my opinion, you kind of wind up guessing shit. This must be a spell for twisting. If I use the reverse of this on the tornado, then it will disperse.
Oh, are you kidding me? Loom was practically telegraphing you what it was supposed to do. I mean, okay, granted, at the beginning.
It was definitely like Broken Age, very, very streamlined in the way that you can't really do the wrong thing.
Right,
ever.
And also very, very linear, I know. But
yeah, absolutely.
First goal, escape the island. How do you escape the island? Okay, I will grant you that one is you open the sky. Okay,
yeah.
Great. But after that, you come across, the vortex thing. You unkill the vortex. Then you come across the asshole shepherds. How are you supposed to defeat the asshole shepherds? Well, you go and look in the little crystal ball of fate, and then it practically flat out tells you what you're supposed to do. In fact, you get the spell to actually do it, which is kind of a paradox.
That one thing is that one Back to the Future puzzle. There is obviously one big major fucking exception to what I was saying. Yeah.
But still, as far as telegraphing goals, there have to be more inventive ways of doing it rather than just having the protagonist keep a diary, or just because what I'm all about when I'm playing an adventure game is immersion, and anything that breaks immersion, anything that the protagonist does that you don't actually experience them doing, like, for instance, April Ryan sitting down to write down, oh, then I woke up in Arcadia, and oh my God, I'm only in my underwear.
I guess that depends on what you need to suspend your disbelief, basically. Because I agree, it can be, it can probably be pretty disruptive as far as immersion goes. Yeah.
Yeah, but there has, I mean, Full Throttle, I think, still did it the best, actually, which is it
would have been a really, really, really great game if it hadn't been so fucking short. It is a great game as it is, but you kind of want it to go on, and it doesn't.
That's true, and the disheartening thing is that apparently it was supposed to be twice as long or whatever. We may never know, but apparently the design document was twice as long, and it just kept cutting shit out to meet a deadline or something.
It's kind of the old King's Quest VII story where you have like voice files in the resource packages that just never made it into the game. You have entire characters that were recorded but never made it into the game.
Now that is some seriously freaky shit. That is for someone to just take an axe to their game like that. Like we're just. I mean, we could have included this character, but nah, fuck it.
Yeah,
Out
and
it goes.
the one character they just completely hacked out was King fucking Graham himself. I mean, you don't cut out King Graham of a King's Quest game.
Well, they did.
That's just bad mojo.
So, anything we can take away from this? Pretty much. The thing I'm gonna let you finish. The thing I'm gonna take away from this is basically what I went into saying that it's kind of been a one-sided discussion. We should come up with topics where we can really disagree on things.
Yeah, that's true.
The
I am in disagreement with you about certain things, namely the journal and Loom being a kind of vague game goal-wise.
No, it
I
doesn't.
think we don't really see eye to eye on that, but that doesn't change that we agree on the overall sentiment that we favor clearer goals.
Right. Exactly. You're being thrown into a game, and you're supposed to know what the game expects from you. Otherwise, you're just walking in circles doing nothing. King's Quest 3. I mean, fuck you. What the hell? Just the opening.
I need a colon cleansing.
Go empty my chamber pot. No, it's full of spooge. All right.
My plate checked.
Well, you do a good man. No.
Thank you, man. No. Do.
Anyway, what I take away from all of this is that there has to be a very, very good way of describing to the player what their goal is without going all journal writing or diary keeping or whatever, or having these really, really boring and needless exposition things where some dude just walks up to you and goes, "This land has been in strife for so and so many years. Oh, if only someone could defeat the wizard."
You wind up with dialogue-laden shit. You wind up with... This isn't a character from an adventure game, but you basically wind up having to write Deckard Cain into every single game you do. The stay a while and listen. And Diablo 2.
Right, or just
the staff and put it into my tube. That guy.
Or the most egregious one, which in my mind is The Longest Journey, where you have a cutscene that lasts 15 to 20 fucking minutes of just this priest dude telling you, and this is why shit went wrong.
I'm not gonna play that. I haven't played that game now. I'm probably not gonna play it. Or it's isn't it?
I bought it, and listen. Not only did I buy it way back in the day, I did pirate it at first. Haha, Wagner, fuck you. GOG had this Insomnia sale thing, so I bought a season pass for Dreamfall chapters, even though I'm pretty sure my computer can't run it. So then I go in and go, wait a minute, I played Dreamfall for a bit back when I was smoking a lot of weed and going to the university. Maybe I should pick that up. Oh look, they have a Longest Journey compilation offer. I can pick up the first and second game for so and so many. So for no reason whatsoever, suddenly I am burdened with everything that ever had Ragnar Turnquist's name on it, and I'll never get to play this. But still, also, fuck Dreamfall, fuck sneak sections, fuck stealth, fuck everything about that game except how pretty it is.
I have no idea about anything you did. Except that, being burdened with everything from one game company and or designer kind of sounds like Steam. You just basically summed up Steam in one long rant there.
That's how they get you. Anyway,
how the fuck did I get all these games?
Suddenly it just piles up. And anyway, what do you take away from this Clear Goals? What's your closing comments on this?
I don't know what my closing comments are. I still kind of see the journal as the lessest evil, because otherwise you kind of tie yourself up to either very, very simple puzzles akin to look in the crystal ball or do exactly what you're told, or exposition in dialogue.
But you can do gradual exposition. You can do gradual exposition through communication with characters. It doesn't have to be one long fucking cutscene. It doesn't have to be someone's
But
journal.
that still makes for a very, very dialogue heavy game. And I know, I know adventure games are kind of supposed to be dialogue laden, but there is a breaking point.
Right, but still, this, the journal thing and the clairvoyant thing and the exposition thing, that's just lazy storytelling. You can do better than this. That's my, that's my grabbing my balls, being all manly about this. That's my word.
I don't outright disagree because I see your point. But if you're asking me what I would do, then as a pretty shitty writer, then that is probably the most tempting solution.
Right. Yeah. At some point, we're going to do an adventure game that just cobbles together everything we hate, and also everything that Richard Cobbett hates.
Yeah, and I'm gonna personally write in a timer bug at some point, and it's gonna beat the fucking Skaterama. It's gonna be the most annoying timer bug you've ever seen.
Oh, we need to do this. I was joking on Twitter that we were gonna I was gonna do a game full of shit that Richard Cobbett hates. Richard Cobbett's this dude who does he wrote for PC Gamer and shit.
He's actually a game journalist who's got ethics.
Yeah.
He seems very ethical.
Anyway, it's gonna start out with him locked in a room without any notion of what he's supposed to do except escape the room. And the first puzzle is to slide a newspaper under the door and then poke the key through the keyhole and get the key back out and everything.
And at intervals, someone comes through the door and beats you to your death if you haven't hidden or something. Except this is where the timer bug comes in.
Right. Exactly. And then unmappable maze.
Oh yeah. Randomized maze.
Oh fuck, man! Shadow of the Comet, will you fuck off? Why? Every time you hit a dead end in that maze, you teleport to another room. What is wrong with you people?
And then we could pull a Mobius in that you have to make it through the maze once, get something at the end, and make it all the way back.
Oh, even better, even better. You make it all the way through the maze, and you arrive at the room where you're supposed to pick up this one item that was at the end of the maze, and he goes, "I'm not sure I should pick this up yet." And you're supposed to go all the way back, and then figure out you're supposed to use
all
this
the
item.
way to the one end of the maze to get what essentially turns out to be the unstable ordnance. So make it with it, and you just blow yourself to bits.
All right. So anyway, ladies and germs, that is why we are the backseat designers. This is why we're not professional game designers.
We're gonna backseat design the fuck out of this thing.
Right. So anyway, unless you have any closing words, I'm just gonna go through our little spiel here.
I'll let you take away the spiel.
I have the spiel ready from memory.
Spiel. The white sausage glockenspiel. Straight out of Gabriel Knight 2, ladies and gentlemen. Take it away, man.
Weisswurst. Right. You can, of course, find us on backseatdesigners.com, which is our main website. If you want to keep up with the audio version of this podcast, you can go to backseatdesigners.podbean.com. You can watch all the episodes that we're doing here in Season 2 with Hangouts over at our YouTube channel at youtube.com/backseatdesigners. You can poke and prod at us.
Noticing a pattern here.
Yes, and the pattern continues. You can poke and prod at us on Twitter at BSDesigners. Because there isn't enough room to put backseat designers, so it's just BS, which is kind of fortunate because it does sound like bullshit designers.
Yeah, we kind of talk bullshit anyways.
That's pretty much what we do. And I'm going to put this out. We do have an IRC channel, and for those of you kids around who don't know what IRC is, fret not. It is just a chat thing. If you want to get on there, there's a web chat client that you can use over on backseatdesigners.com/IRC-channel, I think.
Or you could just click the IRC button to the top of the menu right over there.
There's that as well. Anyway, subscribe to us if you want. If not, we don't really give a shit. And one last thing. For those of you who do give a shit, we are kind of thinking of maybe doing a Patreon thing. Actually, we've kind of cheated. We already have.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we are
And
doing
we're jumping full on into this thing, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've taken off our pants and shown you our junk. Now it's time to reward us for it. So if you actually go on patreon.com/backseatdesigners, there's actually a Patreon thing going on, and you can choose to do it or you can choose not to. We would love it if you
We
did.
don't really care. I don't know why we keep doing any of this, because we really don't care.
We're kind of assholes that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was the spiel. Did I do good? Was that a good spiel?
Yeah, that was a great spiel.
How was
I
it for
award you with the white sausage of doom.
Yay. Oh shit.
Junk.
Right. So anyway, this has been like an almost an hour long, 45 minutes long episodes, which is kind of our special thing. Future episodes might not be as long, but we are going to keep doing it here on YouTube. And if you want to keep up with the live tapings of the episode, there's also our Google Plus page at plus.google.com/backseat designers.
And remember, if you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. We don't care.
Right, that's it. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm gonna go get my stupid ass drunk on this fabulous Saturday.
Yeah, awesome. Well, till next time, man. See ya.
See ya.
No more for today.